watching SportsBeat.
I'm live at Rice-Eccles Stadium, where the latest chapter in the BYU-Utah rivalry will be written. We'll hear from players on the streak and also hear from players and coaches who have been on both sides of the rivalry. There's also an important game going on in Boise, Rod.
Yeah, for Boise State, it is very simple for Utah State. They get a win over the Broncos, and they claim the Mountain Division title in the Mountain West Conference. Matt Wells, the head football coach for the Aggies, will join us live. We'll get you ready for these big matchups coming up right now on SportsBeat.
Thanks for watching tonight. A great half hour ready for you and ready to go. It's BYU versus Utah and Boise State versus Utah State. We'll start with the rivalry game. Fans have waited 14 months for this night. This is Christmas for BYU and Utah fans who love the rivalry, the history, the tradition. Yeah, the wild finishes and the top great performances over the years. Each and every year we look forward to these moments in this game. Of course, this is, depending on who you ask, the 99th or the 93rd meeting between BYU and Utah, and it kicks off tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Of course, the story with this game is the streak. It will continue if Utah gets a win. It's a long streak. It's now 7. It can go to 8. Lately, the storied rivalry has become one-sided. The Utes, they've won 7 in a row over BYU and 12 of the last 15. The Cougars' last win was in overtime in 2009. BYU quarterback Zach Wilson, he was just 9 years old the last time the Cougars beat the Utes. The last 5 games have been decided by 7 points or less, but Utah has made the plays at the end of the game to come out on top. The streak is a topic that comes up often when the rivalry is discussed. It provides motivation for both teams.
How much pride do you guys take in this winning streak against BYU?
A lot of pride. Like Coach says, we don't lose to those guys down south. It's been 7 years since we have, and I don't see any time soon that it's going to happen.
You know, I can't tell you how many years it's been, but, you know, we know that it needs to change, and we will use that as motivation this week.
You can tell just by the reactions of past players how much pride we take in it. They're all invested in it too, so definitely a lot of pride for the program. You know, we want the seniors to go out having never lost to BYU.
As far as I'm concerned, those games have nothing to do with this one. This is our team this year against their team this year, and any game that happened in the past really doesn't matter.
I think for us, we're excited just to go out and break that streak, and I think for us, it just puts an extra little chip on our shoulders, knowing that they're coming in with a lot of momentum, and we got to prepare and get ready to face that momentum as well.
There's a lot of pressure. We don't want to be that, class that was known to end that, that winning streak against BYU, so it's not going to be this class.
This is a unique rivalry game this year. The Utes have something much bigger to play for next week on Friday. They'll face Washington in the Pac-12 championship game, and with a win, they would earn an invite to the Rose Bowl. With 7 straight wins in the rivalry in the Pac-12 championship game next week, could the Utes overlook the Cougars? No chance. They can't wait to play this game.
I've heard, several people say, that you should do whatever you can to maximize your chances for the championship game, but that's not our approach. Our approach is one game at a time, and we're not looking past this game, just like we wouldn't look past it if it was anybody else on the schedule.
We're taking this week as a championship game. We've been taking every single week. We've been saying it since the Stanford game. Every single game we play is a Super Bowl for us.
It's rivalry week, and I think that to go in saying this is just like any other game is, I don't like that approach as much as saying, no, this is the real deal. And we have a lot of respect for them as a team, as a program. We know that they're going to come out and give us their best shot, so I'm excited.
Everyone in Utah literally looks forward to this game, and my brother was in it, and when I got to watch him play, he did good. When he came out here, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. So, I mean, when I go out to play at BYU, I'm just hoping I can make a mark like he did against us.
Yeah, the Utes won't be looking past for this one. They're going to be ready to play this game. Great opportunity to play in this rivalry, and they believe that. The rivalry is a funny thing, rivalries and, loyalties can change in a rivalry, and that's certainly the case with BYU quarterback Zach Wilson. He grew up red. His father, Mike, played for the Utes back in the mid-'90s. He wanted to play for the Utes. Going to BYU was never in the plan until Utah didn't offer last year, and BYU did last December. So now Zach is all blue and has the support of his red family. and he looks forward to getting a chance to be a part of the rivalry.
I always used to be a huge Utah fan, so you know, coming out here with my brothers, and we've built these good relationships. I can't wait to go out there and play.
But this one's different. Playing there with the emotion that'll be there for a guy who has a lot of history in this game himself. He's the kind of guy who can handle it, even though he's young.
We'll find out. I mean, something exciting is going to happen Saturday night, and who knows what it is. But no, I think he's shown a lot of maturity up to this point. Obviously, this is going to be the biggest stage he's played on yet.
No, I don't know if I buy into kind of the predictions of everything. All I know is, you know, I think we're capable to go down to Utah and win, no matter what their record is or what our record is, or you know, the type of players they have. I know that we have the players to go out there and compete and win this game.
There's so much just noise. I've tried to help him just block that out as much as you can, and then whatever emotions he's dealing with, whatever excitement he's dealing with, just focus that into preparing for the game.
Coaches on both sides who experienced a rivalry on both sides. For the first time, BYU quarterback Aaron Roderick, BYU quarterback coach Aaron Roderick, will be going back to Rice-Eccles, where he spent 7 seasons as an assistant to Kyle Whittingham, a couple of those years as co-offensive coordinator.
It's not personal. I mean, I respect the rivalry and I respect the game enough that I'm going to give it everything I have to come out with a win. There's nothing personal. I have a lot of respect for all those guys and still have a lot of great friends on that staff that I talk to often.
All right, the BYU Cougars have just arrived at Rice-Eccles Stadium. They're getting off the bus and walking to their locker room as they get ready for the 8 p.m. kickoff, BYU versus Utah. This isn't the only big game tonight. Utah State and Boise State, a game that will determine the Mountain Division title. Let's go to Rod, who's on the Smurf turf in Boise with the preview of Utah State and Boise State. Rod?
Yeah, hi, Jeremiah. We are here in Boise on the blue Smurf turf, and like you said, it's very simple for Utah State. They beat Boise State, and they are the Mountain West Mountain Division champs. And now for these players, they know what this is all about. Boise State has had Utah State's number recently. They've won 14 of the last 15 meetings, but the Aggie players want to continue this magical season that they're on right now. They're 10-1. Boise State 9-2, and they realize that tonight is the biggest game that they'll ever play in.
If they win, they go to the Mountain West Championship. If we win, we go to the Mountain West Championship. So everything's on the line. This is for all the marbles.
It's going to be a lot of intensity, a lot of fight, and that's what we like. So, I mean, we couldn't ask for nothing better.
It's the ultimate goal. It's the top of what you can achieve right now. And so I think it would just be really special.
Well, it's been 22 years, 1996, since the last time the Aggies won here on this turf. They're going to try to break that streak tonight, and you see the players, they just arrived here, and they are making their way back in the locker room to get dressed, as it is an 8:15 kickoff here in Boise. So, Jeremiah, these players, you can sense they realize what's in store tonight. This is one of the top 2 or 3 largest games in Aggie school history, so they know what's up, and they're ready to try to keep this magical season going. Jeremiah?
Yeah, especially for the Aggies, Rod, to have their heart ripped out at one moment last week against Colorado State and have it shoved right back in and have a chance in this game. They feel like they got new life as far as that special season goes, so I expect them to be highly motivated, as if they weren't already, to win this game in Boise.
Yeah, and I mentioned the last time they won here on the Smurf turf, 1996, Matt Wells was on that team for Utah State, not as quarterback, but as defensive back. Jeremiah, he is going to join us live when we come back to Boise and get the thoughts on how his team is handling this big game tonight here at Albertson Stadium.
All right, thanks, Rod. We'll hear from you later on in the show with Matt Wells, and we've also got plenty more to come up on this special edition of SportsBeat. How about some rivalry smack talk from an unlikely source? That and more next.
I got Utah. I got the Utah Utes. I know they suffered some injuries on offense, but I think this is a very resilient team. Defensively, they're still pretty good, so I got Utah in a close one.
Anytime I can root against BYU, I do it. Can't stand it. So, Utah all the way. Let's go Utes.
Hey, who knew Bryce Harper was so passionate about the rivalry and had such a strong opinion about BYU? Didn't see that coming. Well, there is so much passion on both sides of this rivalry. There's also two players who will be a factor in this game that have played at both schools. For BYU, there's safety Austin Lee. He started his college career at Utah. And then, of course, there is Francis Bernard. Not only did he play at BYU, but he was a key player for the Cougars. 2 years ago, he had a tremendous impact in the rivalry game in 2016. He had 8 tackles and a breathtaking interception, and the Cougars lost to the Utes. 2 years later, he's wearing red.
You know, Francis, his transition was, at first, you know, he came in a little out of shape, but he got into shape. And as far as mental goes, like, you know, as a linebacker on our defense, you got to be smart. But as far as his mental, he's very smart. And he picks up on the defense really quick. Their defenses ran differently than us. And so, like, the lingo's different, you know, from team to team. So that was something he had to pick up on. But besides that, he learns very fast. He learned the defense, not just his position, but the D-line, the DBs, very fast. And, you know, it showed versus Colorado. He balled out.
All right, we're back live at Rice Eccles Stadium here. Spencer Linton joins me now. He'll be on the pre- and post-game show for BYU TV for this rivalry game. Isn't this fun?
This is why we sign up for what we do. Yes. We didn't order the cold, but everything else is great.
Well, we're not used to cold Utah BYU games. We've been spoiled with September weather lately, but we're excited to have a game late November, just after Thanksgiving. It's awesome. So there is some news to report tonight. I'll start with the Utes, and it involves the running back position. Armand Shine is not expected to play tonight. Apparently, he got dinged up in the game at Colorado. And so the Utes are going to have a situation at running back where they're shorthanded. And I know BYU has an issue at running back. Can you explain what's going on there and what to expect from the Cougars at the running back?
Yeah. Do we have like an hour? Because I might need
2 minutes.
Okay,
Can you do it?
Right. Well, I'll give you the brief summary. It looks like the running backs for BYU tonight are going to be Matt Hadley and Riley Burt, maybe with a little bit of Tyler Algier in there because Squally Canada, from what I understand, hasn't cleared concussion protocol. He probably won't play, and Lopini Katoa reportedly is out as well. So for the BYU Cougars, it's going to be Matt Hadley and Riley Burt, and then we'll see. It's kind of a hold-on-and-see approach for BYU.
And it seems like running the ball is going to be key tonight, so we'll see which of these backup running backs can step up tonight. All right, so this game, this rivalry game, I mean, this is exciting for both teams, and the rivalry, the streak keeps coming up in my mind. It's 7 straight for Utah. They take a lot of pride in this. I talked to a lot of Utah players this week. On the BYU side, how much is this driving everyone crazy, and how bad do they want to end this?
Oh, the thirst is real, for sure. The thirst is at epic proportions. But for BYU, I think they look at the fact that, yes, it's 7 in a row, but 4 of the last 5 have come down to the last possession. It's crazy. Only 1 in BYU's independence era really has been a blowout in Utah's favor. So they feel confident they can compete. It's just a matter of implementing their game plan and pulling out a few secret cards that they might have up their sleeve.
Now, we know Utah's a big favorite tonight. Give me real quick a case for BYU to win this game. What do they have to do to get it done?
Well, the Cougars, first of all, need to keep this low scoring. If it can get weird in the second half and they can put some pressure on Utah, then that's their best bet. And also, if they can make Jason Shelley throw the ball 30-plus times, and maybe he will have to if Armand Shine indeed doesn't play, if they can make them pass the ball, then he's going to have to earn it that way. And he has been able to rely on Armand Shine against Colorado and Oregon. So.
Now for the Utes, it's put pressure on a freshman quarterback in Zach Wilson making his rivalry debut, and also for that defense to force some turnovers. Winning the turnover battle has been huge in the rivalry series, so if Utah wins that turnover battle, that should be the key for them as well. Spencer, thanks for joining us. Hey, catch the BYU TV pre- and post-game show coming up 7 o'clock and then after the game as well?
Yeah, I'll be here. Cold or not, I'll be here.
We'll all be there. All right, you know what? Rod Zundel's in Boise right now with head coach Matt Wells, the Utah State Aggies. Rod, let's send it over to you.
All right, Jeremiah. All right, Coach Wells, after last week on the final play against Colorado State, you thought you lost the game, and then a penalty gave you the win. Kind of like a reprieve a little bit, and you guys have new life to continue the magical season. How have your kids reacted from that gasp to now?
Yeah, I think they've reacted, Rod, real good. It's been a good week of practice. They understand that sometimes you don't play your A game on the road in this league, and you got to come away with a win, and that's what we did. And there's no apologies for that. And I think our guys have. It's been a good week.
These kids know what's at stake tonight. Yeah. How difficult was it to not have them get too amped up on Monday or Tuesday?
Well, you know what? It's a veteran bunch, and so I think they understand it's one round at a time, and all this is round 8. And I say that with a grin on my face because they know what this game is, and they know what's at stake tonight. I didn't have to say that. I think the biggest thing that I can do is get them to put a smile on their face and be loose, be confident, and remind them of the goals, of what are the keys of the game, and focus on those little things like that.
Yeah, if you beat Boise State here on the turf tonight, you're the Mountain West Mountain Division champs. You host the conference tournament game, conference championship game next week. You haven't had a lot of success against Boise State. They've beaten you guys 14 of the last 15. Have you brought that up this week?
No. They haven't beat this team 14 out of the last 15.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. The last time the Aggies won here in Boise, 1996, you were a member of that football team as a defensive back.
Yeah, we've talked about that game.
You did. I'm sure you have.
I brought out the hoodie that my senior year, and we've talked about that because those are memories that you create. And I'll never forget walking off this turf in 1996, 22 years ago, and beating these guys, and that's something that'll stick with you for the rest of your life. And so I have shared those memories because that's easy for me as an alum, and we talk about the Aggie Brotherhood quite a bit. And so that's kind of an easy one to talk about this week.
How many tackles do you have in that game? Do you remember?
Not enough.
You have 2 hours before you kick off with the Broncos. What's the message that you're going to send to your team now in the next 2 hours?
Just that I have confidence in them. I value their experience. I value their veteran leadership. I value how good they are, and let them know that I have confidence in them because I absolutely do. This is the best team I've ever brought into Boise. That's the first thing that I know. All that other stuff that you just talked about has nothing to do with tonight, has nothing to do with this team. So just get them to have a clear, concise, focus, steely-eyed, but yet put a smile on their face and enjoy the moment that they've created because they have created this moment. It's a big game because they've created the big game, and they've put themselves in this moment. Now they just have to trust their training, trust their fundamentals, go out and play their best.
You guys are one of the top scoring teams in the nation. Do you expect this to be a shootout? Because Boise State's offense is pretty powerful as well.
It's hard to tell because you're right. Both offenses are really good, but our defense has been very opportunistic. Obviously, we've gotten a lot of turnovers and turned them into touchdowns, and Andy Avalos, the defense coordinator at Boise, does a tremendous job. So I'm not in the prediction business. I'm going to leave that to the pros like you and let you handle that. But I just want the Aggies to win by 1.
All right, be a great way to cap off a magical regular season, right?
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yep.
Matt Wells, head football coach for Utah State, a couple hours away from kickoff. The Broncos and Utah State winner will claim the Mountain West Mountain Division title. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Rice-Eccles Stadium as we continue to preview the rivalry game between BYU and Utah that kicks off at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. We've started a new tradition in this rivalry. Former Utes Andy Phillips and Tom Hackett challenging former Cougars Riley Nelson and Braden Hansen to a game of golf on the golf course.
Hey, Andy Phillips coming to you live from Hidden Valley Country Club, where we are hosting our first annual Rivalry Championship.
Utah's won the last 7. I think it would only be fair if red went first. But it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Let's see.
Getting that bunker.
Dude, the Cougar Tails make an appearance here, maybe?
So Tom said if we win, we get a year's supply of Cougar Tails.
Sweet lunch. Oh my. We might have to put the cameras away pretty soon.
That's what I'm talking about! Don't overcomplicate it.
Oh. It's what hasn't been our whole week.
Do not let them know that we played this on Friday, Andy. Jesus.
Yeah, let's not talk about a false start with the bus. Because I seriously couldn't afford that.
Weird. That's the game, isn't it? That's game.
Come in. Go in. Go in!
Cougs came out on top this year, but next year...
Is that 2 strokes?
Yeah. 2 strokes in the end. Riley sealed the deal with that money pot. Andy and Tom came in the high favorites, but...
We did. Favored by 2.5. Just wasn't our day, Tommy.
No, look, it wasn't our day. We didn't eat the right formula for breakfast,
This is the start of something great. There's a lot of good that's happening, and so we hope to be able to spread that good throughout the state of Utah.
Great stuff. We're happy to have Andy and Tom as part of the KSL family. You can listen to their podcast, Special Forces Gang, on KSLSports.com. All right, when we come back, we'll have our predictions for this game and also Utah State and Boise State and what makes this rivalry so special between these two teams. We'll take a look back in the rivalry history coming up next. All right, welcome back. Time for predictions. Rod, I think that the Utes defense is going to be too much for the BYU offense tonight. They're going to have a hard time scoring, force some turnovers, and I think the depth of Utah is going to be the difference. I think the Utes win tonight 27-17. Your prediction?
Yeah, I got the Utes beating BYU 30-17. Now here with the Boise State Broncos and the Utah State Aggies, you know, they both are high-powered offenses, but I have a hunch that the defense is going to play a big role tonight. I think it's going to be 34-31 Utah State. The magical season continues, Jeremiah.
All right, I like that score, and I have the same prediction as well. I think the Aggies get it done tonight, but it's not going to be as high-scoring as we expect. Can't wait for both of these games tonight. We'll say so long, and we leave you with this, some of the greatest moments in rivalry history. Enjoy the game tonight, everybody.
I'm lucky enough to be one of the many players on the football team that actually has never lost to these.
It's a very emotional game for me.
Well, I can guarantee you our players get up to it, too.
A lot of hard feelings. You know, we're just excited to play, and with all the talking that they're doing, it just makes it that much better. We are honored to play them.
If we play our game, I don't think there's any team in our conference that can play with us.
They don't like us, and we don't like them. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Utah's still Utah, and it's still the biggest game of the year.
I don't know why. Not too many friends are made out there.
We're just, you know, excited to even play against a great team.